As a professional chef, there's only one question that annoys me more than what's your signature dish, and that is, have you seen The Bear? This is a dish from The Bear. I must have been asked 1,000 times if I've watched this show. I'm sure it's fantastic. Unfortunately, I have not seen it, but what I wanted to do is try to find a recipe from that show that I can sort of teach you guys, break it down a little bit, make it a lot more simple, approachable to learn how to make. Here, live, risotto, cooked very plain, finished with a bit of Parmesan cheese and braised short rib with red wine, some beef stock, some classic mirepoix. Very hearty dish, very delicious, and I'm excited to show you how to make it, so let's get started. What we're gonna do is we're braising short rib. Short rib is part of the beef, it's attached to the ribs. Very tough meat, okay? You need to cook it for a long time. You need to braise it. You can't cook it quickly because it's gonna be way too chewy. This is the part of the rib that comes right from the strip loin, the ribeye. It's on the rib cage. It's really full of muscle. It really needs that long, slow cooking to sort of break it down. What we're gonna do is we're gonna sear it in a pan all around with some salt and pepper, give it a really nice color everywhere, caramelization, flavor, and then we're gonna take it out of the pan. We're gonna get some classic mirepoix into the pan, onion, celery, carrot, garlic, fresh thyme, fresh bay leaf. Give that mirepoix a bit of color. Let that mirepoix deglaze the pan a little bit. Red wine's gonna go in, beef stock's gonna go in, and then we're gonna pop it in the oven, 275 degrees for about 3 hours. It's gonna really break that beef down, okay? And once that's in the oven, we're gonna start our rice, cook our risotto, stirring it, making it really nice, really creamy, and take that short rib out of the oven and plop it right on top. It's gonna be really nice, really delicious, all right? So let's get started. First thing we need to do is take our short ribs and give them a nice season. Now, something I always talk about is just not being shy with your seasoning. You wanna really give it some salt. Don't be shy. Make sure you get that flavor in there. It can take it. You season kind of around the meat on the board, and then you just take the meat and you use it to mop up all that seasoning. Very simple. See that? Okay, it's all stuck to the meat. The meat's nice and dry. It's not too wet. It's not going to start to boil when it goes into the pan. You're actually going to get a nice sear on it. Pan should be medium to high, nice and hot. I'm using a cast iron pan. I'm going to give my board a nice little wipe. While these short ribs are going, I'm going to get my mirepoix ready. Medium to small dice on all of these vegetables. Mirepoix is the vegetables that you add to something to sort of give it that foundational flavor. Classic mirepoix is celery, onion, and carrot. It changes. Like, people use different mirepoix for different things. There's such thing as white mirepoix, brown mirepoix. You know, white mirepoix are all light vegetables, right? Like you got leeks and onions and celery, all right? A lot of times white mirepoix is used for things like fish stock or light chicken stock, right? As soon as you start to add things like that are dark and have color on them, right, like carrots and tomatoes. That type of mirepoix is better for when you're making darker things. Roasted beef stock, roasted veal stock. That makes more sense. Down here in the south, in New Orleans, they use something called Trinity. Trinity is mirepoix. The Trinity is celery, onion, and green bell pepper. That's what they use sort of as their building block to all their stocks, to gumbo, to jambalaya. So I'm using here today classic mirepoix, which is onion, celery, and carrot. Okay, I'm also going to be putting some thyme and some bay leaf, and I'm going to put a smash of clove of garlic in there as well. Take your garlic, smash it down. Now make sure you're giving this short rib color all the way around. All right, give it the time, give it the heat, let it sit, let it go, let it get nice caramelization everywhere. Make sure your pan's not too low. Nice color, all right? Don't be afraid to really let that flavor get in there. It should be dark brown, all right? It should be really caramelized. All that color is flavor. Right before you take it out, keeping an eye on the temperature of the pan, all right? I want you to put some butter in there. The butter is gonna just start caramelizing all around. It's gonna just give that nice depth caramelization flavor. It's gonna start to go noisette. And it's gonna help that color of the short rib just get a little bit deeper, the flavor get a little bit deeper. Just the flavor of the butter itself is so delicious when it gets golden brown like that in that pan. Give it a little baste. That is beautiful. Really nice color on it. I'm just gonna take it out of the pan. Okay, now I'm gonna put all of this mirepoix into the pan. Now in that pan right now, I've got a lot of flavor that's stuck to the bottom from that short rib. Bit of meat, bit of seasoning, it's all stuck to the bottom of that pan. These vegetables that I'm putting in are full of moisture. The vegetables are gonna go in, they're gonna start to sweat, they're gonna start to pull some of the moisture off the bottom of some of that flavor off the bottom of the pan. We're actually deglazing the pan with the vegetables. So make sure that the heat stays nice and hot. Put the vegetables straight in, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Just start cooking the moisture out of those vegetables, all right? Now this is a classic flavor combination. You got beef, you got red wine, you got celery, you got onion, you got carrot, you got garlic, bay leaf, thyme. I mean, this is fundamental cooking. All right, if you'd like to, you can put some tomato puree into this as well. A little bit of tomato paste, cook it up, cook it down, get your stock in, give it like that bit of deep red flavor. That's really amazing as well. You don't want them to be too dark, but you want them to start drawing out some moisture. That's what's really important. Let the sound change in the pan from sort of sweating vegetables to sort of sizzling vegetables. That's kind of what you want. All these small steps that you're gonna take are gonna make a big difference in the finished product. So you can see these vegetables now getting some caramelization. And what I'm gonna do is pop these short ribs back in there, okay? I'm gonna go flesh side down, bone up. Next, I want to go in with the red wine. Don't be shy with the red wine. It's a dry wine that has a bit of bold flavor. When you put that wine in, let that wine cook out a little bit. Let it not fully reduce au sec, but come down, just cook that raw wine flavor out. Then we're going to put in some hot beef stock. A little bit more pepper. Hot beef stock. Now the beef stock was boiling when I went to go put it in, nice and hot. To keep that temperature nice and hot, very important. We're putting it in a low temperature oven. We're gonna put it in a 275-degree oven. It's really important that this is already past that temperature. So it goes down to the temperature it needs to be, not up, okay? Now we're just gonna cover it. Covering it is really important because we don't want the top to dry out. Fully cover it. If you have a lid, use a lid. Keep that steam in there. Pop it in the oven, set a 3-hour timer. Next step, we need to get our risotto on. All right, now you're cooking rice, different style of rice. This is arborio rice. You need to cook it slowly. You need to stir it. All right, you need to release the starch that's in that rice. So you end up having a nice creamy risotto at the end, all right? The difference between cooking this rice and a normal rice is literally that. You're cooking it, you're adding stock as you're cooking, you're mixing it, you're stirring it, you're releasing all those starches. In the end, you're gonna have this beautiful, nice, emulsified, creamy Italian rice dish that you're gonna love. Okay, so what do we need? We need garlic, we need shallot, butter, white wine, Parmesan cheese, and aglio di oliva, olive oil, okay? What we're gonna start is with shallot, olive oil, butter, and garlic in a pan. Olive oil in, okay? Olive oil and butter. Shallot. Don't go too heavy on the garlic. Couple cloves, couple small cloves, that's it. Really intense in flavor if you put too much. Beautiful. Oh man. This was one of the first dishes that I learned how to make, was risotto. It was a saffron risotto with white wine. It was in an Italian cookbook that I had when I was, you know, maybe like 10 years old, 12 years old. So I sort of have this like nice memory of learning how to make this. With the onion and the garlic that's in there, you don't want color. You just want it nice, translucent, sweet sort of flavor. Watch it, don't let it burn. Right as this smell starts to change from the onion and the garlic, it becomes less abrasive, intense, and raw, and it starts to smell a little bit sweeter. That's what you're looking for. As soon as that happens, as soon as your onions are nice and sweated off, I have about a cup of rice here, all right? Go right in. You don't need to wash a borio rice. You don't need to wash risotto rice, okay? You want all that starch in there. Now this is the step what we call polishing the grains. You're cooking it in that fat, and you're just sort of like letting it caramelize and just toast and get a little bit more of a deeper flavor in there. Give it a pinch of salt. Make sure you have your chicken stock going behind you, getting nice and hot. You could smell it, you could hear it. Got a bit of Parmesan cheese, Parmigiano. Now when you're doing this, you're not trying to go too dark. You don't want dark, burnt pieces of rice. Look for lightly golden brown. And again, try to go by the smell. Try to go by the smell of the dish. Like, you want to smell that like deep toasted grain. All these little steps that you're doing is going to make for the finished product to be a lot better. You see the butter and the olive oil sort of frying around each of those little tiny grains of rice. Now, a little bit of white wine. That was about a cup of white wine. When you're cooking like this, there's an expression in Italian, they say quanto basta, which basically means when to stop. And in a lot of Italian recipes, they'll see QB, quanto basta. And if you ask an Italian grandmother how much you put, they kind of laugh at you, because you kind of have to get a bit of intuition with it, a bit of feeling, you know, how much you want to put compared to the rice. Not think about it, but feel it. And now you want to just start stirring it constantly, moving it, and you're going to start to see all of those grains of rice releasing starch and thickening. The wine is the first thing to absorb into the rice. So far, all that's in there is wine, and you can see in the pan, when you pull the spoon back, it's like it doesn't collapse onto itself. It means it's dry. That's what you're kind of looking for. So you go in with the first ladle of stock. You want to go about a ladle and a half at a time and stir. Constantly stir. You cook it on medium to high. Grate that cheese on the fine setting, because you want it to melt quickly. I'm using Parmesan cheese. Now, some people finish their risotto with creme fraiche or whipped cream. I don't personally think you need to. I think as long as you do the work ahead of time and you stir it constantly and you finish it with butter and cheese, it's always creamy enough. But what happens is you get busy in a restaurant sometimes. You gotta think about it. This dish probably takes 20 minutes to cook from raw, 25 minutes to cook from raw. So it's difficult to time that all the time in restaurants. Not a lot of restaurants cook this dish from scratch. What that means is a lot of times they have cheat codes that they use towards the end. Putting whipped cream, creme fraiche, stuff like that to make it seem a lot more creamy than it actually is. All right, but I urge you, if you're making this at home, to not do that. You can kind of tell when you're looking at the rice when it's done. I mean, you can see the raw rice in the center of the grain. You start to see it get smaller and smaller and smaller, that white color. And you want to finish it when it's still al dente. There's still a tiny bit of white inside. Let it carry over cooking that way. You don't want to overcook it, whatever you do. It's like pasta that way. So just be careful with it. You don't want to take it too far. You don't want it to be too dry. For risotto, you want to be able to pour it, okay? You want to sort of leave it right around there. Now watch this step carefully. This, so far, just has stock, and that's it. That's the rice cooked with the stock. There's shallot and garlic and white wine, okay? It's already sort of bound together. You can see that there's still stock in there. It's still a little bit loose, but bound together by the starch, okay? And that's what's important, because now what we're gonna do is, whilst it's off the heat, we're gonna put in another knob of butter, okay? And our cheese. Okay, a fair amount. Now, while we're off the heat, we're gonna stir that in. And you're gonna see now that that butter and the cheese comes together and creates this emulsion with the rice. Now that's not going back on the heat, and that's really important to note. It's fully came together now, and look, that's beautiful. It's emulsified, it's delicious, it's not overcooked. Okay, it's gonna taste like cheese, that butter's mounted in there. Wow. Now, you wanna finish it with a little splash of vinegar. Because of how much butter in there, how much cheese is in there, and how rich it is, a little bit of vinegar will cut through it. It's a really nice way to finish it off, okay? I'm gonna use red wine vinegar. You can use sherry vinegar, balsamic vinegar, a little bit of red wine vinegar. Just a splash, not a lot. Perfect. Okay, we have our rice done. Now, let's take our short rib out of the oven. It's been 3 hours. Short rib's been cooked. It's been braised, okay? When you're testing your braised meat, take the back of your spoon and just try to push it through it. If the back of the spoon goes through the meat with ease, it's done. See? It's just falling apart. That's how you know it's finished, because it's breaking apart. It's just coming off the bone. You could actually slide this bone out. See that? Pretty easily. That's where you want it to be. Anytime you braise anything, take it out of the oven, let it rest. Let it sit down with the lid on top. Let that steam stay inside of the meat, otherwise it's gonna dry out, okay? So I'm gonna take these short ribs out, I'm gonna pass the liquid off, and we're gonna make a quick pan sauce, and we're gonna be ready to plate. So we got all of our vegetables, we got our sauce. Now what I wanna do is just strain that out, okay? Only keep the liquid. Short rib. You got all those vegetables that cooked in there. You have all the herbs that cooked in there. You have thyme, bay leaf, garlic. It's all in there. Now what we want to do is just take that liquid, blast it on high heat, and cook it down, intensify that flavor, and make it into a more round, finished sauce. It's boiling. All that moisture is coming out. Anytime you're reducing something, you're making a sauce, you're cooking out the water in it. The water is leaving through this via this steam, okay? And all of the flavor is staying in the liquid. That's what you're doing when you're reducing something. You're intensifying the flavor. Chop some parsley, because we're gonna finish this with just a bit of chopped parsley on the top. Got our parsley. Sauce is coming down. It's almost there. Now with sauce like this, it's important you let it go enough. You let it reduce enough. It needs to be packed with flavor. It needs to be, for 1 tablespoon, it needs to bring a lot of flavor. That's why sauce is so expensive, because you take 60 liters full of liquid and you reduce it to something that's this big. 2 cases of veal bones is like 700 bucks. And all you're getting out of that is about this much sauce, right? That's why sauce is so expensive, but it's so packed with flavor, and it's vital to a dish because it makes it more round. You know, it brings it together. So you see how thin it is still. Our sauce is about there. I'm gonna add another knob of butter to it, emulsify it, make it a little bit more rich and luxurious and shiny. Splash of red wine vinegar. That's really gonna cut through the richness of it. Our beautiful risotto that we made earlier. Okay? I'm just gonna take our short rib, glaze it in the sauce that we made. Get nice and shiny, luxurious. Don't need the bone. You just take that short rib. A little bit of parsley to cut through it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is braised short rib and risotto a la Le Bear. So thank you very much for this recipe. I hope it's delicious. It looks delicious. We followed all the rules necessary. Cooked the rice the right way. We braised a short rib with classic mirepoix, really low and slow, falling off the bone. Really deep, delicious sauce, cut with a little bit of acidity with the red wine vinegar. Man, that's good. Look, I haven't seen The Bear, but there's no way that a bear made this. Well done, The Bear. If you like this video and want to see more of my take on popular dishes, let me know in the comments, like and subscribe. That's it.